there, I'm Syama, CEO of Scaling Retail, and today we're going to chat a little bit about omnichannel marketing for your fashion company. Now, omnichannel is just a fancy word for everywhere marketing, and what I think is so funny about it is that we've been using this word for so long, and I absolutely hate it. I think it's one of the worst words that we can use in marketing, because honestly, guys, marketing needs to be cohesive. Marketing needs to be 360, and so this concept of just omni-channel as a thing, I just think totally defeats the purpose of really just calling it 360-degree marketing, which is ultimately what we should all be doing all the time. Now, obviously, most of you guys know people will say between 5 to 8 different touch points in terms of marketing. Truly, my philosophy, and here at Scaling Retail, what we believe is you need to meet your customer where they are. And meeting your customer where they are, by default, makes you an omni-channel marketer. Now, as a small fashion brand, or any fashion brand for that matter, you are a media company. You can't help it. It's part of how you do business. By virtue of being consumer facing, having a brand narrative, having vision, you are in essence a walking media company. And how you choose to approach omnichannel marketing really depends on where your customers are at and what is the ecosystem that you need to be building in order to get in front of them. So let's talk a little bit about ecosystem building, but for our purposes, omnichannel, really just 360-degree marketing. Now, some of my favorite suites of how we look at 360 marketing really comes in terms of implementing some of the newer technologies, right? Things like SMS marketing that have really been taking up steam in the last, I would say, 24 months, 36 months. We are now seeing as an integral part in terms of how brands do business. Now, when it comes to things like SMS marketing, we are seeing 99% open rates. Now, you're not going to see a ton of click-through rates on them, but 99% open rate makes it the leading channel of marketing amidst the entire suite of advertising and marketing services. When on earth would you ever have found a 99% open rate with any of your emails? Maybe to a list of 3, maybe to a list of your team. Very, very difficult to achieve such high numbers. So when it comes to thinking about how you're doing positioning of your marketing, the different ways of getting the channels out there, really important to layer up that marketing cake with certainly efficacy of deliverance and conversion optimization, as well as open rates. And guys, we all want good open rates. So SMS marketing definitely goes on to your omni-channel 360-degree marketing strategy. Now, the next thing we want to consider as we look at full experiential is how do we start to think about ways in which we can get in front of your consumer that is not necessarily just on text messaging. Certainly having a robust newsletter program is very, very important. In fact, it's one of the main things that most small businesses really suffer from. They don't have a nurture sequence. They don't have the trigger email sequence that comes after someone abandons cart. They don't have the follow-up email on a purchase in order to get someone to rate and review the product. They're not serving up like products when they do remarketing through email to a consumer because they haven't linked up what the other kinds of products are that they might actually like to purchase. So all of that back end kind of email customization, a huge component of how we look at 360-degree marketing. Your emails have to make sense to the consumer. If they do not make sense, it still can be valid because having that brand recognition within your inbox is really important, but it's not going to be as effective unless you actually have emails that are really designed to get that consumer to convert. So what does an email like that look like? Well, I'll tell you guys, some of my most favorite emails, the ones that I've actually seen do the best that were marketed to me, really talked about the products that I purchased before, talked about the products that I might like, and maybe offer me a discount code on a new arrival or on a bestseller. They really customize the email based on where I am geographically, letting me know that they know summer's on the rise, temperatures have been hot, and here in the Bay Area, it is time to start to break out and buy XYZ workout clothes, because guys, that's a lot of what I've been buying these days. So when we think about kind of the cadence of newsletter marketing, very important to look at segmentation, frequency, and cadence as it relates to that omni-channel strategy. Now, further expanding into omnichannel and 360-degree marketing, we start to look at the other ecosystems, right? How do we start to map out how you're showing up in events? How do we map how you're showing out in pop-up shops? What are the collaborations that you're doing? And quite frankly, what are the ways in which you're able to create sticking points so that your customer can not only find you on different platforms, experience you differently on different platforms, but have all of it retain a certain amount of resonance. That's right, resonance. What happens when you start to launch these cohesive marketing strategies, but you have different agencies and different people executing in different ways, you end up having this very fragmented conversation that is lacking a lot of cohesion. That cohesion is very important because you want your customer to be able to find you on these different platforms and also to be able to have an in real life experience with you that resonates as part of the true core identity. Now, for a small business, you might say to yourself, oh my gosh, that sounds like so much work. How the hell do I actually pull something like that together? Start small. Start with a few channels. Start with your editorial calendar and start to understand what are the ways that I'm picking multiple strategies across different touch points. What is the in real life strategy? What is the digital marketing strategy? What is the advertising strategy? And look at how you are getting inside of people's homes, their minds, and their hearts, and their pocketbooks in a way that touches them, not just in a digital way and not just in an in real life pop-up shop, trade show, trunk show sort of manner. That sort of consistency is ultimately what's going to set your brand apart from the other brands. And if you've ever done some investigative journalism into some of your competitive brands, especially the ones that are doing very well, what you'll notice, and if you go all the way back to the beginning of their Instagram feeds, all the way back to the beginning of their content, chances are you saw something a little disjointed and not so cohesive. Now, if they're smart, they've gone back and archived a bunch of stuff, but believe me, not everyone's had the privilege and time to be able to go back and hide things. So that means that you can actually go back and see how brands have actually been pulling together more cohesion over time. Now, the best way to start off, guys, again, is to go slow. Pick your platforms, pick your messaging, be consistent, and not just throw your budget at one thing one time, but spread out your budget in a way that's going to be consistent over a longer period of time. At one time, I told a client the other day, they had a certain amount of budget for marketing, and I said, well, we can either spend the entire budget in 3 months, or we can decrease the budget and spend it over 6 months. My preference is smaller budgets, longer periods of time, if that is a constraint that we actually have to be able to work with and manage with. All right, guys, that's all from me over here on 360-degree marketing. Make sure that you've got a strategy that incorporates all the different touch points that are able to get to your customer where they are at, whether that be at the bus stop, online, on social, in-home through direct mail, at an event, podcasts, looking at things like Spotify, music streaming, TV ads, so many different components and ways, newsletter marketing, advertising, right? Buying space with those influencers. Be omni, be everywhere, but be there well. All right, guys, that's all from me over here at Scaling Retail. If you're wondering how to set up and execute a cohesive 360-degree strategy that's really intended to help you secure a stable customer base and help you scale over time, send us an email at hello@scalingretail.com. Talk to you soon. Bye.